In this episode, we cross the spectacular Yechet e Hotit Pass as we head back into the Accursed Mountains of North Albania, where we meet two shepherds and join them on their daily duties. We follow them on their journey, trekking through the mountains along centuries-old paths to reach their family's hut. Here we witness their traditional way of life farming livestock and learn more about the Kelmend region's fascinating history.
Hi everyone, welcome back.
Morning.
So we're staying at a lake called Lake Skadar in the north of Albania, just near the city of Shkoda. My plan was this morning that I was going to show you this beautiful lake we're staying at. It's known to have like over 200 species of wild birds. It's been really lovely for the last couple of days we stayed here. Last night we actually got a massive windstorm come through, tons of rain. We had to move and seek shelter next to this abandoned restaurant behind us. We did take some shots of it when it was nicer, so we will show you those in a minute. Our plan today is we're going to head back into the mountains. You might remember from our last episode that we went up there to meet a lady called Aga, and unfortunately our audio failed and it just kind of went miserably, and we were heartbroken about it, and we were thinking that's it, that's the end of our project now. Well, actually, luckily, we've managed to contact a French woman who then put us in touch with an Albanian, Italian-speaking Albanian, who then put us in touch with a French-speaking Albanian, who then put us in touch with an English-speaking son of a shepherd in the mountains, and
a friend of a friend of a friend of
a friend of a friend of a friend. And long story short, I think we've got something set up today. So we're going to go and head back into the mountains. There's probably going to be some communication barriers up there somewhere because I feel like it's lost now. There's been so many translations along the way through this. But hopefully we're going to go and visit some shepherds and see what they get up to in the mountains, document their life, take some more photographs.
Just generally follow them throughout the day.
Just generally follow them around, yeah. The weather's sort of clearing up a bit now, but you know, it might be a lot worse in the mountains. So we're just going to go and have a little look, see what we can find.
Yep.
Hopefully this will be a brilliant end to our time in Albania.
Yep, looking forward to
So
it.
let's go and have a look. But first off, we'll show you some nice photos and videos of this lake. Okay, see you later.
Lake Skadar is the largest and most impressive lake in the Balkan Peninsula, straddling the borders of Albania and Montenegro over its 44-kilometre length. It is also one of the largest bird reserves in all of Europe, home to 270 different species, many of which we spotted during our 3-day stay on the lake's shores.
So our funds are running kind of low right now, and our miles per gallon is one of the contributing factors to that. So we've decided, in order to get ourselves back to the UK, to start shredding the van of anything that's not really useful, that we don't need anymore. And that could start with some bodywork. So down here, you will see that we've started taking off bits of the body. It's going quite well so far. I think if I just drive into a few more hedges, we should have the whole thing off by the end of the day. And that'll save us a couple of quid on fuel money, I reckon. It's a good plan, don't you reckon?
I think so. Excellent plan. What could go wrong? The rust is really helping as well.
No, but seriously though, that kind of sucks, and it's definitely an MOT fail when we get back to the UK. Don't even know how it happened. I've just noticed now. This van is quite literally falling apart.
I think we found the missing piece of wheel arch. There it is. Just pop that back on over here.
So we're just on the way up to the mountains now, and for the last couple of weeks we've been desperately trying to hunt down some gas. We've got an English colour bottle, and you know in England you're like strictly forbidden to fill your own bottles. It's really against the law, it's dangerous, it's going to kill you. Out here, if they've got the right adapter, they'll gladly fill it for you, no problems, and it costs like £3 a go, as opposed to about £20 a go in the UK. So it's a no-brainer. But you know, it's just finding someone with the right adapter that's the tricky part. The last possible garage that we've tried in this country before crossing the border in a few days' time, thankfully had a big bag of adapters, and he's got the right one for our colour bottle, so we are well chuffed. Because we were getting so low and it looked like we were going to be on bloody raw food diets for the rest of this trip otherwise, so thankfully we got some gas and we're ready to go.
With our final preparations made, we were ready to head back into the Albanian Alps, following the newly paved SH20 road higher and higher as the landscape grew more wild and the views became more incredible. Eventually we arrived at the top of the Yechet-e-Hotit mountain pass, an impressive road snaking its way down the mountainside and into the Sem Valley below. Once we'd descended into the valley, we had just one more stop to make. So cool. Seem like it, this raging waterfall behind us is actually a spring, and you can see the water coming straight out of the ground just above it. Needless to say, we just filled up all of our tanks from spring water and Ben's absolutely soaking.
Oh yeah, can't get much purer than that though.
No.
You can just see the hole in the rock where it's coming out of. It's like pure spring water.
Delicious.
Very good. So behind me is the village of Tamari. We've arrived a couple of hours ago. We're just kind of trying to work out what's going on now, as we thought there might be some problems with communication. So we've been here, a couple of hours just trying to establish who we're meeting, when we're meeting them, what we're doing and when. So we just got to kind of wait around a little bit longer, be a bit more patient. We're kind of losing light for today, I think, so probably won't be out filming anything today. Which is kind of a relief because we had about 3 hours sleep last night in that storm. So we just parked up here, just tucked away by the side of the road. Not the worst place, not the best place. Probably gonna, just meet up with this shepherd's son in a little while, work out a bit of a plan for tomorrow, get up nice and early and see what we can do from there. Lucy's just informed me that I said the name of the town wrong. It's actually Tamara, not Tamari.
Ben always pronounces everything wrong, so I apologise on his behalf. I'm the intelligent one here.
She said it.
So I've just been doing some research about the Kelmendi tribe, which has inhabited this area actually since around 1497, maybe even earlier. And when we kind of met this guy last week and we came here, we didn't really know that this was one of the tribal areas of Albania, so it's been really interesting to learn about it. I'm sure we're going to find out so much more information from the shepherds, but from what I've been looking up online, the Kelmendis successfully fought off invasions by both the Ottomans and the communists in this area, so they're quite fierce. And there's a handful of families here that will still keep the surnames from all those many centuries ago today. Here's our man, I think.
Ah, here's our man.
See any? Hi.
Well, we met the shepherd and his son. His son did speak some English, which was helpful, but the interview was kind of complex and it all just kind of got thrust upon us so quickly. So we didn't really have the appropriate questions for the guy we met because we didn't know his situation, we didn't know the environment, we didn't really know his story. So the questions were kind of a bit generic and vague, and I don't really think we got out of it what we needed to, unfortunately. Some of you will probably already know that we're working on a project in the north of Albania, and this was supposed to be sort of wrapping it up here really and completing it. The project is mainly around the remote areas and how people survive here, what life's like for them, etc, etc. So we've kind of gone to this town. It's on the main road nowadays. It's not particularly remote. so we don't really know what relevance it's going to have. We also didn't get any English translations there and then. He was just sort of asking us what the questions were in English and then relaying them to his father in Albanian, and we weren't getting any of the answers back in English, so the interview was kind of out of our control. We don't really know what was going on half the time. Tomorrow he's very kindly said we can go along with him and some other shepherds on their routes around the villages tomorrow, so that's going to be really cool and interesting, but the son isn't going to be with him, so there's going to be no translations whatsoever. So I don't really know what we're going to be able to get out of this for our project and for you guys tomorrow. It's going to be a bit of one of them ones we don't have any idea what's happening. We're just going to go along and film and try and converse as much as we can, but I don't know, we're not feeling too hopeful at the minute. It's kind of yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what happens tomorrow. So I think now we're just going to go and cook a curry, get some sleep, and start again in the morning.
We met the shepherds at 8 AM the following morning. It was still raining from the night before as we arrived at the beginning of the walk. The ground was soaked and the bright blue Sem River was raging beside us as we set off on our walk. We still weren't sure where we were heading at this point, but our guides seemed to know, so we followed close behind, sheltering under a borrowed umbrella in a desperate attempt to keep our camera gear dry. We hiked for over an hour before eventually finding some signs of life, hidden among the mountain peaks and craggy paths high above the valley below. We had arrived in the grounds of the ruined Sheng church, which our guides informed us had been built circa 1646, making it one of the region's oldest churches. When the Ottomans invaded Albania, they attempted to eradicate all other religions but Islam. However, the Kelmendi tribe of the north resisted the invasion over many centuries and were ultimately able to preserve their independence and uphold their Catholic faith.
I think we've probably climbed about 300 metres now. We haven't been able to film too much on the way up because it's been absolutely chucking it down with rain the whole time. It's a bit of a nightmare really. I'm trying to hold the umbrella in one hand, towel in the other, camera between the two of them. It's not working, so I'm not too sure how much footage we've actually got on the way up here, but take my word for it, it was a bit of a hike first thing this morning, I can tell you that.
We walked on before eventually coming to a small shepherd's hut, where two members of our guide's family were seeking shelter whilst tending to their livestock. It was here that they kept their goats, which they were about to let out into the grazing field nearby. As the goats began their daily journey, we started to notice more remote settlements scattered across the mountainsides and wondered just how many people lived hidden away in the Accursed mountains. We were invited into the shepherd's hut to shelter from the weather and warm up by the fire.
So we've just been invited inside out of the rain and the wind for a nice Turkish coffee and some rakia. It's definitely a good way to warm us up.
So we've managed to find a common language between us. I speak a little bit of Italian, so does Paula. And apparently this is not this couple's house, this is just like a shepherd's hut, so they come up here while they're tending to the animals. They've got like a basic bed and a fire to keep warm and make coffee, but they've got a house down in the village.
It's very cosy there.
It's so cosy. So I got some yoghurt made from their goat's milk. Give it a try. It's really nice. It's like goat's cheese.
Tastes like goat's cheese? Stronger than normal yoghurt?
Oh yeah, much stronger.
Yeah. Wow. You like?
Yeah, it's good.
You better do, you got a lot there.
We left the warmth of the shepherd's hut behind us as we said thank you and goodbye to Anna and Cole. With the weather worsening, it was time to head back to base.
So I don't know how our guide has managed this because I am pretty much covered in mud now. My shoes have just sunk into the big muddy goat poo puddles. Yet our guide has not got a single bit of mud on his really smart suit that he's worn up here. It's an absolute miracle. Absolutely pristine. What could go wrong? I'm not sure if someone lives in this or it's just another shepherd's hut. Doesn't look like anyone's in. Wow. It's just another ruin, unfortunately.
It's a long abandoned house. Apparently, the family would have moved to the city long ago.
Okay. So it was a house, not just a shepherd's hut.
Yeah, it was a house.
See.
We began the descent, opting for a different route than the one we'd taken that morning. This felt more like a direct route, and by direct, I mean almost vertical.
Well, that was it for the day. We weren't sure really what we were going to expect from today. We had no idea. We weren't really told anything. We couldn't really convey our messages very well today, so it was just kind of all in the hands of these shepherds. It turned out really, really good in the end, actually. We got a really, really good atmosphere up there. We met the shepherds.
Got some really good photos and hopefully an interesting vlog for you guys as well. We would have loved to have visited some more places because it was amazing to get to see more of these remote settlements, you know, where people have got no form of road access whatsoever. It's just these really rough, challenging paths to get to their houses. We would have loved to have filmed so much more, but as you can probably hear on this recording, the rain here is relentless. It is not stopped. This area we're parked in is slowly flooding and that wind is just horrendous.
I think today we're meant to be getting about 10 centimetres of rain, which is quite a lot. Over in the mountains there's a massive waterfall coming down the side of it now that was not there this morning. just to kind of put it into context, we're gradually just sinking into a lake around us. It's a bit worrying actually, but it actually made the filming really difficult today, but I'm so proud of our equipment, you know, we've never used it in such bad conditions before. I was like balancing an umbrella with our gimbal and the camera underneath it, trying to mop it down with a towel constantly. So we haven't actually looked through the footage yet of today. When you watch this, we obviously would have done by then, so we're kind of like 50-50 whether it's going to come out good or not. So we'll have to see, but overall it did really well. So
I mean, we can't blame it all on the rain. We were very slow walking up that mountain.
We were slow, yeah.
A little bit of practice from last week going up to visit that woman, but those old guys, they were like, you know, probably double our age, and they were just soaring up those mountains.
They were in their 60s at least, you know. And,
yeah,
the guy was just wearing his full suit up there, you know, and waistcoat and everything, like
smart
looking really
shoes,
smart.
Yeah.
Managed to maintain that look the entire time. Well, I was just covered in mud by the time I got back.
The other guy was carrying my bag, his bag, all the umbrellas, and helping me down some of the tricky bits of the path, so they've really put us to shame, haven't they?
They have, as usual, you know. I don't even care anymore. It's what we've come to expect. These guys are proper mountaineers and we just aren't. But hopefully, as our projects continue to blossom, we will become healthier and more fit and able to do these trips, because eventually we want to go even further out, you know, we want to go even more remote into Central Asian countries and continue this project. If you're interested in the sort of photo projects we're doing, we can leave a link in the description. Our photographic side of things is called LB Journals, and that's where we sort of put our more professional work, you know, from these
stuff. Yeah, we do that all under the title of L&B Journals, which is on Instagram, and we've got a dedicated website just for our photography, which is slightly separate to our travel. There is a little bit of overlap, but on the whole it's completely distinct.
I'd say our videos in this area are kind of a more behind the scenes of what we get up to for the photo projects, so yeah, it'd be interesting for you guys to have a look, I think. Anyway, I think for now we're going to put our armbands on and go and fix all the leaks in the back. I think we've got about 4 new leaks today, including 2 on the bed.
Ben's taped a jug to the roof to stop it from leaking onto the bed.
My side of the bed is absolutely soaked. I'm considering sleeping on the floor tonight.
Also, the camera is slowly steaming up from just how hot and moist it is in the van, so I think we better
like a spa, isn't it, actually?
Leave you guys before you can't see us at all.
So yeah, that's it for now. I think tomorrow we're going to be heading into Montenegro. It kind of wraps up our time in Albania here nicely. So we're excited for that, and we'll see you on the next video.
Bye.
Goodbye.